Hi guys, my name is Phil and welcome to PhilDoes3D. I'm a multimedia and 3D artist and I stream on Twitch weekdays from 5 PM Pacific time in the US, 12 PM in Australia and 1 AM in the UK. Let's open up our file we were working on yesterday in Max, which is our garden terrace. Hope you guys are well. Making sure I have everything unmuted, my mic and everything. That should be fine. We were working on the banister railings again yesterday, texturing up one of the curved outer sections. So we'll continue doing that today. There's just a few more texture maps I want to add to the first version of that banister rail, and then we'll create 2 more versions, and then we can start repeating it around the outside of the model. Max is thinking about loading up the model. Come on. So yeah, we'll create another 2 or 3 versions of that this curved texture map here. Let's go full screen on that so we can get a bit better of a look. So we were working on this one here yesterday. There's just a couple of more textures I want to put on the top of that. And then we'll create another 2 versions and then we can start alternating them around the outside of the garden terrace here. As long as we make sure that we don't have any that are going to be in the same view at the same time, we should be fine. People won't notice that we're copying the texture around. So let's do that. We'll jump back into Mari. Open up our project from yesterday. Remember guys, if there's anything you're not sure about or you want to ask me any questions, feel free to pop into the chat. If you just want to pop in and say hi, that's cool. If you just want to watch, that's completely fine too. Okay, let's throw on a new layer. And I've noticed it needs a texture up here along the top edge, so we'll do that now, I think. Let's find a good texture we can use. This one should be good. Let's just line up our model a little bit better. I'm going to angle it forward slightly so that the masking is taking effect and then we won't accidentally paint on the top or the bottom here. Right, I might scale the texture up just a little bit, I think. We're on a new layer, so I'm going to paint that in. I'm going to rotate my texture around a little bit to match the curvature of the banister there. We'll paint that in. And just a little bit here on the end. Alright, let's bake that down. Now you'll notice here I've gone over slightly. Don't worry about these little bits of black here because when we change the layer style here, they'll disappear. We're only worrying about the white part of the texture. Let's also put it down here, I think, along this bottom edge. We can use the same texture, it's not a problem. We'll scale it down a little and paint it in. Again, I'm going to angle the model slightly forward. I'm not going to paint, I'm not worrying about the black of the texture, I'm only worrying about the white. So, and remember, I'm always rotating the texture to match the geometry of the model underneath. And it's a little bit here on the end. Okay, let's bake that down by hitting the Alt key. We'll jump around to the other side, and we're going to throw it up here on this top section as well. So again, I'm angling the model slightly forward. I'm going to scale the texture up, and I do that by pressing the Control and Shift key in the left mouse button. Okay. Okay. Just this little bit here on the end. We'll bake that down. And I think I may put a piece just here on this front edge as well. So might scale it up just a bit. Hey Galen, how's things? No, that's cool. I know people have got things to do and stuff, so it's never a problem. I did miss you yesterday though, so glad to see you. Did you do any shopping on Cyber Monday, as they call it in the US? Okay, let's bake that down. Let's move our texture out of the way and change our layer style. Probably an add, I think, on this one. And we're just going to pull it back. No, me either. I didn't do any shopping on the sale days here. I know it's a big deal over there, though. It's actually becoming a big deal here as well. Alright, so we've got our dirt texture painted in. I might actually pull it back just a bit more, I think. That's better. Let's export our flattened version. Did you get your re-renders done and fixed up the other day? Okay, R2, we're just going to export it as the same name and overwrite the old version. All right, let's jump back into Max and take a look at that. Again, we're going to reload the texture. It's this one here. All right, that's better. It blends in a little better now with the other banisters. Cool. It's always good when the client's happy. It's never good when the client's not happy. It helps sometimes too, depending on the person. Some clients will be cool, some clients won't. Some of them will give you a hard time. Alright. So I purposefully left none of these white streak marks on this one because I want this one to be completely different. Just going to jump around to the other side. I'm also just going to pull back a little bit because I like to check the model from different viewports, so not only close up but further back as well, to get a better idea of how it's going to look. And like I said, we may need to do a bit of color correction in Photoshop on these textures we're using. I'll wait until I've textured up the rest of them before I decide whether it needs it or not. I think once we get these other columns and things textured up, it'll help to highlight the banisters here. So here we go though. So we've created one version of this. Let's create another version that we can start repeating around. So we need two more versions. We've got this one. Well, I think 3 should be fine because after the third banister, if you're turning the model around, you're not really going to see it. So if you wanted to be extra specially safe, you could do 4, but I think 3 will be fine. If we find that 3 looks too repetitious, we can always create another one and swap it around. And because we're working with Mari, it's easy, as I said, to create variations on the one texture. So let's grab our model here and turn off these layers we just put on. So we're back to a base layer. And we'll know when that is because it's from this closed eye down is the first one, and from there up was the second one. So if we turn all that off, we know we're back at the base. Okay. So let's throw on a new layer. And go back to our original texture we're using for the underlying color of the banister, which is this one here. Yeah, I was a little late starting this morning, sorry guys, by a couple of minutes because OBS decided my stream key wasn't correct. It wouldn't let me stream, so I actually had to copy the key over again. It's the first time that's happened in OBS. Don't know what caused that problem. It was only delayed by a couple of minutes though. Let's scale that down just a bit. And looking at the front of the model here, let's remove this white mark here. Again, we're working on a new layer on top of our old versions. Bake that down with the Alt key. And also just under here, we may paint it probably here, I think. I'm removing this white streak because it's a really noticeable part of the original texture, and it will be mega noticeable when you start repeating the texture, so you want it just to be aware of things like that. Also just need, I see a bit of an error through here, so I'm just going to paint that out as well. Just in there. Okay. I think the easiest way to do these variations is to paint out any areas like this which are really noticeable to get the thing back to basically just the base color. And then you can paint some extra detail on top of it. But by painting it out initially, you ensure that you don't forget and leave it in there. And then you, like I said, these sort of white marks are going to be really noticeable as being repeated. So you just got to be careful of large features in a texture like that when you're doing a variation. We'll rotate it that way, I think. I'm also going to rotate it back slightly. If you paint a couple of new white marks in like those two there, that's fine because that's different from the last one, and we're going to paint some more white marks in anyway. This is just so we don't forget and leave these really noticeable white streaks in the texture. I don't want that white mark there. I'm going to remove that in just a sec. Probably with this darker part of the texture. Okay, we'll bake that down. I'm also going to remove the white marks here and here as well. I'll jump to the front here, I think. Angle the model back slightly. Just going to scale the texture up just a little bit. Got to move you up. I actually want to paint that out. I don't want the white streak there. And I don't want all these dark marks in here either. All these white bits either. Always remember to press the Alt key in Mari because it won't actually be baked down until you do. It's something people can forget with this program because unlike a normal paint program, most paint programs you don't press a key to bake it down. It's only Mari that seems unique to that. Okay, let's bake that down. I'll remove that white bit there as well, I think. Okay, and I think we've just got this one bit here left to remove. And I'm going to actually remove a couple of these dots as well because they're quite noticeable as being repeated around. I'll leave a couple in to make it different, but just so they're not, the pattern of dots isn't exactly the same everywhere. Now we have that painted out, we're back to pretty much a basic texture again. Oh, apart from this little bit of white here as well, I want to remove that too. So now we're basically back to a standard undercoat texture, which is on layer 12 here. So we can throw a new layer on top. We know if we always come back to this one to create the next variation, we just remove everything above it and we'll be back to a base color that we can then paint with a third version on top of. So let's see here. This is the front of the model. Let's throw a texture. Let's throw a texture that runs down that center seam there, I think, that corner piece. So let's grab I'm going to angle the model up slightly. Make sure that the masking isn't taking any effect, otherwise we won't get a proper laydown of the color. Okay, I'm just had to reorient myself as to where that actual line was. Let's just throw down that white mark through here. And bake it in. So now that's running right on that corner piece there. Let's not do this one here or any at the front. Again, because if we do any at the front or at the top here, it's going to be quite noticeable if it's being repeated. So we want to create a couple of variations that are more standard, I think. Let's throw some white on this back edge here. Maybe this one through here. Okay, so we have one on the front edge on the side, one on the back edge here. Let's throw one on this side here. These side pieces are less troubling because they're not really going to be noticeable from the front of the model. They're only going to be noticeable when it's rendered on an angle like that. So you're not going to notice it if you're repeating it around, unlike the front sections here and here. So let's rotate our model around, our texture around a bit to match the model. I might go with one of these slightly lighter white pieces instead of going really dark. Hey Smurfberry Barbecue, you return, you do. It's a great username too, by the way. Is that from South Park? Wasn't one of the characters, superhero characters, was he Smurfberry Barbecue? Still, it's a great username. Okay, so that's a bit of variation. It's probably enough for what we need here on this part of the model, but we're going to put some more dirt textures and things around. So, oh, you came up with that one yourself. Cool. Yeah, it's a great username. Let's just scale the model back a bit and throw on a new layer. Do they? Somebody else has Smurfberry Barbecue. Oh. So you just spelled it slightly differently. Great minds for sure. Let's pull this texture in and have a look. No, not that one. I was just asking Galen before if you did any shopping on Cyber Monday. Did you do any Smurfberry Barbecue? We've both been very good. I didn't do any cyber squandering online. This one, let's paint this one down here on this bottom edge, I think. Just going to scale it in a little bit. We're on a new layer. Again, we're only worrying about the white part of the texture here, not the dark part. No. So you worked on your portfolio, you start your resume. Oh, you applied for a job, cool. Well, I hope you get it. What sort of job is it in design? It's always important to keep working on your portfolio, even once you think it might be ready, because you're always working on new work and swapping images in and out to get that you do better. And it stands to reason that more often you do work on things, the better you'll get. It's always a good idea. Let's break that down. A lot of people will fall into the trap where they'll, pick images for their portfolio and then they'll forget about it. So it's always good to update it as you work on new things. Might put that down here as well, that texture. Oh, 3D printing company. Yeah, that would be really cool. I've thought about looking into 3D printing, not for work, but just to do some stuff for myself to print out some models I've created. I know though that they've got to be specially formatted, and not everything that you make in 3D will work in 3D printing. But I'd like to play around with it. Prepping meshes for sending to the printers. Yep, cool. Certainly the next big thing for 3D printing. They're all talking about it. I want that 3D printer that was in Watch Dogs game. Could actually create, moving parts. Not that I played the game, I just watched a playthrough. I was burnt on the first Watch Dogs game. It was. I thought it would be better than it was, so I wasn't about to buy the second one. Okay, let's change our layer style on this. Oh, you can, Galen, you can check in Blender whether it's printer ready. That's cool. You can't do that in Max. That's a very good idea. Not that I'm aware of in Max anyway, unless they've added it, and I haven't come across it yet in the new version, but I don't think you can. I know Windows 10 has a program built into it for 3D printing. 3D Builder, I think they call it. I haven't looked at that either, though. Let's do an ad on that and pull it back. Okay, let's throw out a new layer. Remember, always throw out a new layer when you're going to change textures is usually a good idea. Let's have a look at this one. We used that one just before, so let's choose something different. Yeah, I haven't opened it either. Smoothberry Barbecue. I've seen it there, but I haven't looked at it. Let's find a new texture here. You spend time in Maya. Yeah, Maya's a good program. Blender's a good 3D program. Cinema 4D is a good 3D program. There's a lot of good 3D programs to use. Just whatever you like the interface to, I think, is important. And I use Max because I'm used to it. I've been using it for so long. The other 3D software programs are just as good. That'd be really cool to recreate the Nostromo ship from Alien, Galen. No, that wasn't me. I'm not that familiar with Modo, and I certainly didn't say it was affordable. It wasn't me that said that. I don't know that much about Modo. Let's work with the dark part of the texture here, I think. Nightbot spamming. I have to change the settings on that, I think. Let's throw this here up on the top layer. On a new layer again. Why, are you thinking about using Modo Smokebrew Barbecue? Some other streamer, yeah, it wasn't me. You wish Maya had Max's stack. And he went on a tangent about how Modo has a stack now. Oh, okay. Bake that down. How much was the license for Modo, just out of curiosity? And are there any plugins perhaps you can use in Maya to give you a stack? Again, I'm not that, I've used Maya a little, but not a lot, so I'm not that familiar with Maya's workflow. But I do know with Max there's a whole lot of plugins you can get to change parts of the program to make it more what you want, what you're used to. I just hope that Autodesk keeps both programs around, because I know that they've killed off Softimage or Softimage when they bought it. Hi Sniper Echo, how's things? We're just talking about the different 3D programs people are using. scale that around. I'll rotate it around 180 degrees. Yeah, it's a real shame that they killed off Softimage or Soft Image when Autodesk purchased it, because I know a lot of people were really upset about it. A lot of the guys I know that worked in cinema used to use it, and people still do use it. I'm not going to say that it's not being used anymore. It is, but they're not developing for it anymore. Yeah, even after I'd said at Smurfberry Barbecue about a plugin for the stack, I thought, oh, it's probably not going to be possible, because it's really fundamental to the way the program does work, the underlying way the program works. And Max was built for that sort of thing. So it probably would be difficult for somebody to write a plugin for it. I'm good, Sniper Echo, thank you. Did you do any cyber squandering on Cyber Monday or the Black Friday sales? We've all been very good. We didn't do any. So yeah, my fear with Autodesk and Max and Maya is they're going to kill one or the other all. I have no basis for that. That's just a feeling that I have. So far, they've been pretty good. They've been developing both programs together, but you never know. All the things you were looking at went up instead of down. Yeah, a few people have said that, actually, that you tend to get a better deal sometimes not on these sale days, because they tend to put things up, which is a bit mean of them. So it always pays to do some research just before you lay down that money. Do a multiply on that. No, we'll do a no, multiply will be good. Pull it right back. We're going to throw down a new layer. You hear recent complaints about Max being based on data technology. Do they just keep piling you? Well, they do. They have rewritten the viewport, the Nitrous viewport, I think they call it, with the version 2017, and it is much faster. I can attest to that, because I've got version 2016 and version 2017, and I know that the difference in the viewport speed is quite dramatic, and the number of polygons that you can rotate around the screen at any one time is increased a lot in Max 2017. But what Autodesk tend to do a lot of the time is they buy up plugins that have been popular that people have bought for Max, and they integrate the code into the program itself, which can cause major problems. Yeah. I was one of those silly people that purchased a new GPU as soon as they came out. It always pays to wait as long as you can. Not that I'm unhappy with my NVIDIA card, it's great, but if you can wait, it's always good. Yeah, I often, as I was saying, I'm just worried that Autodesk will kill off one or the other. They do tend to be used for different types of things. Like, I know that Maya's used for character animation a lot in games. I know that Max is used a lot in architectural visualization. So maybe they'll keep them both around because they both serve different purposes. Maybe they'll combine them both into one program and call it something new. You never know. I hope not. I'd like them to keep both programs around. Yeah, that's exactly right, Smurfberry. Max does come from a CAD background, and Maya is animation. A friend of mine that's a character animator, character artist, character animator, loves Maya for its animation. Maya Max, that's right, Galen. Maxa, yeah. Hey, don't give Autodesk ideas. Let's keep both programs around. We're on a new layer, I think. Yes, we are. and Sniper Echo. No, there's not really much of a crossover between the two programs. Not so far anyway. They've kept them both pretty separate. But who knows with Autodesk in the future. That's exactly right, Smokeberry. They're both tools. And a tool is only as good as the person that wields it, so. That's why I always find it amusing when people think getting the latest and greatest version of a piece of software is going to make them a better artist. It won't. You've got to learn the basics before you can get better at anything. And just upgrading your software is not going to make you better. It might help because maybe they'll introduce something that was difficult to do in an older version, but it won't make you a better artist. Okay, we're working with the white version here, so let's throw it on this top layer. No, let's do the very top layer, I think. Sniper Echo, I don't know if you know that Max and Maya, you can actually, if you're a student or a teacher, you can use let you use the software for free. They give you a 3-year license for it. You just can't do anything commercial with it. But you can certainly use it and learn it. Both programs, Max and Maya. Do you want to post a link, Sniper Echo? Let me give you a permit first, otherwise you'll get timed out by Nightbot. Just a sec. So you should have permission to post a link now. You shouldn't get timed out. Cool, yeah. Well, that's a shame. You can also use those two programs, Max and Maya, on subscription now as well, much like they do. Autodesk does, much like Adobe does actually with its programs. Do you want me to give you permission again, Sniper Echo? Yeah, Nightbot is on point. Just give me a sec. Why won't you let me copy your username? It's very annoying. Try it again now, Sniper Echo. You've got 60 seconds, I think it gives you to post a link. Yeah, so you can actually go on subscription with Max and Maya on the Autodesk website. I don't generally like paying per subscriptions. I think in the long run you're better off buying the software. But if you can't afford the outlay, because it can be really expensive, doing it monthly on a subscription is another option. But you don't need to, because programs like Blender, which are free, are perfectly good. I mean, there's nothing wrong with Blender. It's a great program. You can do everything just about. You can do it in Max, you can do it in Blender. So there's no reason particularly to use one over the other. Let's see here. Got the top on those ones with the white. That's right, I wanted to do this bottom one here, didn't I? You certainly may, Galen. I should add you regular guys to Nightbot's permission list. I'll do that later on, I think. Just give me a sec, Galen. Did I spell that correctly? Pelez. Did I spell your name correctly to give you permission? I think I did. Galen Pelez. Is it N or N-A? Just a sec here. What am I doing? Sorry about that, Galen. Nightbot's being a bit of a nuisance.